It's used for cooking in many parts of Nigeria. It's used industrially in cosmetics, cleaning products, and foodstuffs. Palm oil is one of the world's most prized raw materials, but increasing demand for the oil is having a disastrous impact on the environment. Why is that so?
Well, Auntie, it's mainly because all around the world, in Africa too, forests are being cleared to make way for plantations. But one laboratory in Britain has developed a substitute for palm oil.
They might not look like much, but these few drops of oil could be a mini revolution. It's oil that has the same properties as palm oil. It was developed by the University of Bath in Britain. Chris Chuck is the lead researcher.
It wasn't that we extracted it and then said, we've done it. It was more that we had to analyze the composition first. And when we found that that directly aligned with palm oil, it was a very exciting moment.
The substitute is obtained using straw and other organic waste. The sugar in the straw is broken down in a kind of microwave and then mixed with a specific yeast known for its use in South African winemaking. As it ferments and grows, oil can be extracted from the new cells created. The British Forum for the Future, an organization seeking to promote sustainable development, is optimistic about the project.
I think yeast-based vegetable oils and other technologies that reduce our dependence on palm oil could potentially play a significant role, particularly reducing impacts on land in an increasingly resource-constrained world.
Palm oil is contained in all kinds of things, ranging from cosmetics to cleaning products, biodiesel, and many foods. Every year, nearly 60 million tons of palm oil are used worldwide. It has particular properties that other oils don't have, and is extremely cheap. But this all comes at a huge cost to the environment. Forests in Malaysia and Indonesia are being torched to make way for more oil palms. The destruction of the rainforest is threatening local species, like the orangutan and the Sumatran tiger. Burning the forest releases enormous amounts of carbon dioxide, polluting the atmosphere and hastening climate change. If the steady rise in the demand for palm oil could be stopped, that alone would be a huge victory. But there's still a way to go yet.
The first thing that we have to do is show that it works on an industrial scale and that it's a cost-effective replacement. In the longer run, we would hope that that would slow down the growth in using traditional palm oil as this comes in to replace it.
The Bath research team has been awarded a €6 million grant to build on their findings. Chris Chuck will spend the next few years investigating how to turn a few drops into tons of oil.
When you hear Zanzibar, you probably think of spices rather than seaweed. But in fact, this marine crop provides a livelihood for thousands of farmers there, most of them women. Seaweed is also a key export of this archipelago, which is part of Tanzania. But climate change is threatening this industry. Some of the most profitable seaweed species are dying. Now, the Institute of Marine Sciences and the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania is trying to set up training programs to help farmers increase their yields on the island of Zanzibar.
When the sun rises, the women of Zanzibar head to their seaweed farms. All they need to help the seaweed grow are strings and sticks. On the archipelago, thousands of people farm seaweed. The majority of them are women. 45-year-old Fatu Mustafa is one of them. For the last 20 years, she's been wading into the knee-high blue waters to tend her farm. The crop has liberated her from being solely dependent on her husband.
Seaweed has many uses. First, it's used as food. But we also make soap out of it, and we make beauty products from it. My earnings have helped me educate my children and bring them to the hospital when they're ill.
For the last few decades, Zanzibar has been one of the world's largest exporters of seaweed. The island produces 10,000 tons annually, supplying China, Korea, Vietnam, the U.S., and European countries. After tourism and cloves, seaweed is Zanzibar's third largest foreign exchange earner. Seaweed is used in toothpaste, shampoos, and medical products. But there's a problem. In recent years, Fatou Mustafa and other farmers have less and less to harvest.
We just pray for better yields. Farming seaweed is a struggle. We harvest whatever we can find. You can plant seaweed and still get a poor yield. That's why it's so hard.
Many women have already quit the trade, but finding other ways of making money is difficult. Climate change is causing the seaweed harvest to decline. Flower Msuya is a marine scientist in Zanzibar. In the last decades, she says, water temperatures have risen several degrees, making the seaweed vulnerable.
Because of this water temperature, then the seaweed gets two types of problems. One is what we call epiphytes. Epiphytes are hairy microalgae, like you see this one here. The hairy things you see on this seaweed, these are epiphytes, and you see this one is actually full of dots and hairy material. These are epiphytes. When the seaweed gets the epiphytes, if it is too much, it just gets bleached and it dies. The farmers will lose the crop.
The government of Zanzibar is worried that climate change will kill the industry. Some scientists have suggested they move the farms farther offshore, where the water is cooler. But the problem is, most women in Zanzibar can't swim. That's why the government encourages seaweed farmers to not only sell the cash crop, but also process the crop themselves. That way they can earn more money. Safia used to be a seaweed farmer. Today, she's an entrepreneur running a women's group that makes a variety of products from seaweed.
Seaweed farming was good, but I couldn't earn enough. When I came back home after studying, I began making soaps. I took them to be inspected and they were approved. They said I could make them, so I did, and started selling them.
Safia and her group have gone from making soap to making body lotions, shampoo, juice, and even seaweed cakes. For now, they're coping with climate change by adopting a new business model. But still, they're worried about the impact of climate change and hope that seaweed in Zanzibar will recover soon.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this edition of Eco at Africa. My name is Joy Doreen Bira, and we're coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya, in the hilly areas. And as they say, the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. And it's that season in Nairobi where it gets rainy and cold.
You can find out more about our stories on our website or visit us on social media and have your say. Thanks for watching. We will be with you next week for another edition of our Pan-African and European Environment magazine. Bye-bye for now.